Hello, welcome back to another channel for Source Energies. So I was thinking what we could do for the next video, and I heard the knowledge of good and evil, followed with the image of the two swords in my mind's eye. Now, the first thing that came to my mind when I heard the knowledge of good and evil was the story of Adam and Eve in the book of Genesis. So I did some digging and some rereading on the story. So basically, the story that's most common about the Garden of Eden, which translates to the place of pleasure, a place of pleasure, is God said in the Garden of Eden, which in the middle of the garden there is the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God says you may eat from any fruit in the garden, okay? But if you eat from the fruit, if you eat the fruit of the tree of good and, of the knowledge of good and evil, you will certainly die. And the serpent, a snake, comes up to Eve and tempts her to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And he says, if you eat from this tree, you certainly will not die, and you will become like God, or you'll know things like God. So she eats the fruit, gives some to Adam, right? And then God's like, hey, what's going on? And they're wearing figs at this point because they learned that they were naked. And she's like, the snake tricked me into eating the fruit. And Adam's like, I ate it because she gave it to me. So, and they were apparently cursed, to live as we do now, to work for everything that we want and need, and to have serious pains while giving birth. All right, that's the original story. And I'm not trying to bash anyone who believes it, but in the Bible it says this is an account of heaven and earth, but we only really heard a lot about earth. We didn't really hear much about heaven. Either that or the translation is wonky, which I'm going to assume the translation is wonky, and that for better or worse, the translation's kind of, let's just say inspired culture to be a certain way for a good length of time. Now, I have a different opinion about the story of Adam and Eve. And this is just my opinion based on what I've come to understand. And I do plan on learning Hebrew so I can understand and learn more, because we care about the truth and we care about, clear understanding and seeing things from different points of view. And I find it very odd that it's all very similar and there's not very much of a difference, except for in, different religions, but, they're also really similar. Anyway, it is my belief that this is an account of heaven and earth, and it is my belief that when they talk about, the place of pleasure, the Garden of Eden, and the tree of life, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, that they're actually talking about, before they got cast out, they were in heaven, and they were privy to anything, everything, infinitely, eternally, for whatever reason. And I don't think that God would really lie, and I don't think that the serpent really told the entire truth. So I think in my opinion, what it comes down to is God had planned to give them the knowledge at some point, some way. And in order to obtain that knowledge, they had to eat from, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, because how else do we learn, right? How else do we experience things differently? And in that case, we do certainly die, because we live. And in that case, we, do have to work for what we want and what we need. And to, when we eat from the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil, the first thing they did was lie and blame. And in the story, it says they were cast out of heaven, and that the path was guarded by an angel, or angel translates to messenger, but not just any messenger, a messenger that had a flaming sword. And if you dig into the Kabbalah, there's this diagram called the Tree of Life. I don't think that's a coincidence. And in this diagram of the Tree of Life, there's a path called Path of the Flaming Sword, which I also don't think is a coincidence. And this diagram of the Tree of Life defines and tries to explain the eminences, or the divine eminence of God in all of its forms, there being 10 forms, different forms, with 22 pathways, but 11 complete forms if you count all the emanations in that one 11th Sephiroth. And if I didn't explain before, each one of these emanations is a Sephiroth, and the path between them is supposed to be the connections between these divine eminences, or how the divinity, shows itself to us, and how they connect. Anyway, so my point is this, that I believe that the translation was a bit off, and that it's trying to explain heaven and earth and its relationship with itself, and how to achieve the kingdom of heaven on earth, and how the earth in itself connects to the kingdom of heaven. In the story, it goes on to talk about how Adam, was made from the dust, or is made from dirt, and how in the end they were cursed to eventually return back to dust, and to work for their food, and to have to feel pain to give birth. And it's in my opinion that this was always meant to happen, and that things may have been a little bit different had they taken the time, to ask questions, and to be there for each other, and to bring things up to open, to be naked, to be vulnerable, to show each other, the differences. Like, God, why would the serpent say that you're lying? And why would you not tell us the whole truth, right? There's just a lot of holes in there. And so I come to this conclusion that really there's just a lot of, no offense to the people who translated it, a lot of error, and a lot of disconnection, and a lot of inability to see the truth for what it is, but instead it seems to say, if you don't do this, then you're going to be cursed, and that we're all cursed because, our descendants didn't do the right thing. But when you really read it, it's almost like we're destined to do the wrong thing, understand and learn from it, become better for it, stop blaming, stop lying, and start telling the truth, and start, working together and doing what's right, in my opinion. Also, when it talks about the story of God, creating a woman from Adam, it doesn't make very much sense to me either. The word Zella, or Zala, which I'll put on the screen, translates to side chamber, side compartment. And that it's a very rare word, and that it is, and that is uncertainty. They're not certain. That translates to rib. And to me, it would make more sense for, when God created man, woman, that the woman would have been created first, and since it had an empty compartment, would have filled it with flesh to make man. Woman, right? Man with a womb, and man, without. So, it's like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? The hen or the egg? It wouldn't make sense if you said the rooster, you know what I'm saying? But it's just my personal opinion. And I wouldn't put it past man to, kind of shift things around in their direction based on our history. Anyway, so some other questionable things. When it says we created God or we created man in our image, right? So we and our kind of signifies more than one. And I believe in the heavenly order, and that, we're eternal, and that also eating from the tree of life, or understanding or reading the tree of life and following the path of the flaming sword, which I'll give another description of it on here, would translate to how to bring heaven to earth and how earth is bringing its goodness to heaven. And it's through this understanding where we achieve immortal life, or not immortal life, but immortality, in the sense that we bring, like I said, heaven to earth, and we end up being able to do that only by recognizing our true power, our true immortality, our true pieces of God that exist within all of us, the truth that we can be here for each other in, the perfect harmony in certain ways. I mean, like I said earlier, as kids, a lot of us are little devils. Not very many of us are like good little children that grew up and don't make mistakes and don't do bad things, That's just not how it goes. Eventually we learn, right? We learn to be more composed. We learn to be more harmonic and to work with each other. We don't come out that way usually. It's a gradual learning process. But let me know what you think. Like I said, I'll be learning more, so hopefully I could translate it myself, ourselves, to take the best out of it and understand it in different ways rather than it being the same way, the whole time. There's just a lot of things that don't make sense in it, that I think that when we really take the time to see it for what it is, it should be an account of heaven and earth, not just an account of earth betraying God and becoming cursed. It just doesn't make sense to me that way. It seems to be, like I said, some sort of cultural conditioning going on there. I'm not trying to bash on anybody who, believes in it hardcore. Just, take the good out of the book. Don't let the book take the good out of you. All right. So I talked about seeing the two swords in my mind's eye. It translates to conflict with no clear resolution. It may also represent a challenging decision. This is what it looks like. And I'm going to be reading from the Cosmic Oracle, an activation card, a soul activation card. Choices. That would go good with this particular episode. All right, here we go. Choices. To make your decision, ask yourself which experience best allows your soul to grow. If you have drawn this card, you've come to crossroads in your life where choices and decisions need to be made. This period can be quite challenging as you weigh your options. Your mind tells you one thing, yet your heart feels differently. The mind, with all its logic, reinforces your core beliefs in what is safe and secure with creature comforts and stability. Your heart, on the other hand, pushes you to explore possibilities and adventures that seem all too foolish and irresponsible to the mind. Dearest one, your soul longs to grow, evolve, and expand to higher states of consciousness. Your heart knows this, as it is the guiding force within you. The mind is the vehicle that assists you in getting to where your heart needs to go. Are you growing in your current situation, whether it is in a relationship or working environment? Or does Spirit have to bring outside influences such as changes in your working environment or a new friendship that causes you to view your current relationship? If it is external influences that are pulling at your heartstrings and not your current situation, then it's pretty clear that the place you are in is not serving your highest good. It may be serving you on a physical creature comfort level, but your heart and soul need more. You need to be challenged and pushed to make breakthroughs. Why play it safe? You have one life to live, and the mission isn't to be cautious. Our goal is to grow and expand. Closing doors in your life may not be easy. Trust your heart and inner guide that you are being taken somewhere beautiful. You are not alone. Divine guidance surrounds you continuously. Okay. The affirmation for the soul activation card, dang mosquito, is, I am courageous as I listen to the guidance from my heart. The associate chakras are the solar plexus chakra, the will, and the heart. Love. All right. And thank you, Nara and Anastasia, for your soul activation card. I am going to do one more from the I Ching Oracle. Thank you, Catherine Pilfrey, for your cards. Easier translation for them. I don't know if you guys know about the I Ching and the tetragramations and stuff like that, but it is not easy task to memorize them. So we got these cards. It is Earth over Heaven. Translates to Peace, number 11. All right. So this is a time of heaven on earth. Make the most of this opportunity to focus on your goals. Seek harmony. Cultivate inner peace. Forgive. All right, I'm going to read from the book now. All right, like I said, earth above heaven. All right, things are going well. Like spring, there's so much opportunity for growth and new beginnings. It is a time of tremendous potential. But as with all things, it may not last. Take full advantage of this time to accomplish as much as you can. Focus on your goals. Start new projects. Be open to new possibilities. Meet new people and create strong partnerships. Treat others with kindness and respect. Forgive what has come before. The more you are able to cultivate peace within yourself and harmony with others, the longer the good times will last. Right. Thank you again, Catherine Pilfrey, for their I Ching Oracle cards. Also, I'd like to say a quick prayer. Thank you, Holy Spirit, Divine Mother, True Father, and all of the other divinities that help guide us, including our spirit guides and all the guides we believe in. I pray that you give us opportunity and you show us truth so that we may see and understand things in a new light that we didn't see before, and bring us closer to God and closer to our relationship with ourselves, our higher selves, and our lower self, so that we may know balance and understanding. And also, Amen, and thank you for listening. You have a good night, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you and take care.